Hello and welcome to Ufology Explored. In today's video we should be talking about evidence types in the UK. It could be relevant to your country, wherever you are. The Kecksberg UFO incident, and quote of the day is by Douglas MacArthur again. Alright, I'll see you. Of evidence. There's basically 4 types of evidence in the UK, or 5 in the civil court. Basically the first type of evidence is oral evidence. This is what, if you go to court, is what you get put in the dock, is what you transfer into the judge and the jury if there's one there. And it's put forward as the truth. You've got to decide if it is or not. Witness statements. This is an accurate account drawn up by a witness on their knowledge of events, and it's not their opinions. Their opinions may be different to what actually happened. Doctors, police, pilots, etc. They can be called as expert witnesses. For example, if a plane crashed, no one was hurt, luckily enough, and I said where the pilot was doing this, that and the other. I'm not a pilot, I haven't got a clue, so I wouldn't be an expert, where another pilot would be. He would know if he was doing things wrong. Real evidence. This is something you can hold of, such as at a murder, if it's a knife, if it's a piece of rope, an object. It's basically an object that you can produce in court to say yes, that was it. If I don't know, if your car crashed and it was because of a wire had frayed, and you could hand this over, this is why it happened. It's real evidence, and it's tangible and you can feel it. Documentary evidence, such as your driving license, your doctor's notes about you, your diaries, your pay slips, any contracts, your emails, your Facebook, phone calls, etc. That's all documentary evidence. So when you're on Facebook or whatever, be careful what you're saying, because it could get you into trouble, even years from now. So that's all documentary evidence, and they're all used in court. Hearsay, used in civil court in the UK, it's basically second-hand information. Oh, Bill said he did that. It's just you basically going to court and saying that. Your solicitor will have to give notice that they're using hearsay in court. Sometimes it's not the best type of evidence, because people can lie. Well, they can lie with any evidence, most evidence. So it's generally the most unreliable, and they'll use the other evidence before that. They wouldn't go off one court case in that. Anyway, on to the next part, the Kecksberg. We are going to talk about the Kecksberg UFO incident. It happened in Pennsylvania, the USA, on the 9th of December 1965 at 16:44 hours. And that was around the time of the impact. There was a large, brilliant fireball which flew across 6 states of America and Ontario and Canada. It crossed Detroit, Michigan, and it landed in the Lake Erie area. No sonic booms heard in the Pittsburgh area, and also apparently debris of this object had fallen in Michigan and northern Ohio, and it set grass fires alight. Anyway, in Kecksberg, witnesses got in touch with the local authorities saying something had either crashed or landed in the woods nearby. The local fire department were called out. They went into the woods, and they claimed to have found an object, acorn shaped, about the size of a Volkswagen Beetle, and it had hieroglyphs around the base of the object. Now the state police came and cordoned the area off, and moved all civilians out of the way at this point. and it was also reported that the army removed it on a flatbed truck. Um, and anyway, their official thing that they hadn't found anything, but that's obviously not the truth, because there was, and I'll go into these. There was a John Murphy who worked for WHJB radio station. He went to the scene before the authorities got there, because a number of his listeners had got in touch with him who were frightened, and so it's a story. He went down. Now, we took pictures of the object and also took audio statements from witnesses. And he was going to air a show later in the week on this subject, and that was called Object in the Woods. But before it aired, government officials came and spoke to him, and had confiscated some of his material. And the show that did go out was totally different to what he was intending to put out, and that was according to his wife. She'd seen the original show, and it was totally different. And also, Mabel Mazza, the office manager of the radio station, she'd seen some of the photographs, and they'd been confiscated and they weren't returned. And when he did air his show, he didn't mention an object at all. Also, the Tribune Review, which was a newspaper from a nearby town, the Greenberg, a reporter was at the scene, and he reported that an object had landed, and the police had roped it off. The police had roped it off on the order of the army, and they're waiting for US Army engineers to come to the area. Now, a later edition of that newspaper had basically said nothing had been found yet again. They'd done a U-turn, like the radio station, and that nothing had been found. The usual suspects was a crashed aeroplane, a rogue missile test that had gone wrong, a meteor, or a satellite that had re-entered the Earth's atmosphere. The one mentioned is Cosmos 96, which was a Soviet satellite which was intended to go to Venus, which didn't even get out of Earth's orbit. But that had landed. It had landed on the same day, but at 3:18 a.m. in the morning, 13 hours before people in Kecksberg had witnessed this, or even the fireball. So that was obviously out of the question. In 2003, there was NASA had released some documents regarding it, and they were unrevealing. They basically said that there wasn't anything there. And in 2005, a lawsuit was made against NASA by someone who was doing a show on the Sci-Fi Channel about Kecksberg, and to search for these lost records. And after 2 to 3 years, even the judge he angrily referred to the NASA's search for these missing documents as a ball of yarn. But I suppose that's why NASA's called never a straight answer. It also said, and it was in Project Blue Book, and it's on file. And they said they had sent a 3-man team from a nearby radar station to the area to investigate. So the military were there in one form or another. And in 2005, a NASA statement for the 40th anniversary of the Kecksberg incident, they stated, "We have examined metal fragments from the object, and they're claiming it was from a Soviet satellite. And all the purporting documents and data have been misplaced, and that's how they came to the conclusion it was Soviet." And that was by David Streitz to the Associated Press. So again, something had landed, but again, there's some lies again. Anyway, I'll put this down. I'll go to the quote of the day. These videos are going to end up being quicker because I've covered all the main attributes of ufology, crop circles, human abduction, UFOs, etc. There will be some more, but I'll be going into more case studies of UFO sightings. Anyway, quote of the week is by Douglas MacArthur, and this was on the 12th of May 1962, in which he said, "We deal not with things of the world alone. We speak in strange terms of harnessing the cosmic energy of ultimate conflict between a united human race and sinister forces of some other planetary galaxy." Is Douglas MacArthur a science fiction fan, or is he speaking from something that he knows? We'll never know. Thoughts of the day. It is about the Kecksberg incident, and probably as I go through the more and more case studies we do, we'll see the same basic scenarios playing out. So we know something definitely landed, even though the military had said in the beginning nothing had, they haven't took anything away, because NASA confirmed this 40 years ago, and they've said it was a satellite, but they've misplaced all data and documents regarding this, so we never truly find out if it was a satellite or a UFO. Now you'd think that NASA is spent billions and billions on each year, surely would have a good filing system. They seem to be misplacing a lot of files. I mean, one day they'll probably misplace the space station or the shuttle or something. Oh, one of our spaceships is missing. Wouldn't be surprised. Anyway, would the military really be in charge of a search of that type? Surely it would be up to the local police and the state police and the federal and the FAA. Yes, I can see where the FBI may get involved with an investigation, but why the military would be there so quick? Either they've tracked it, like the 3-man team, apparently just the 3 from a radar station, so had they tracked it or not? Like we say, had they tracked it? The radio and newspaper stories, they both basically did a U-turn on what they were saying or what they were going to say. So had the government got to them and said, look, you can't run this, or if you do, we'll threaten you. And it's just interesting to say that John Murphy was actually killed in a hit and run accident 4 years later while on holiday in California, in Ventura. His wife purported again, saying that she'd seen his original draft and it was completely different after the interview, or so to speak. And after that he never spoke about it again. He wouldn't speak about it. Again, evidence, multiple witnesses said they'd seen things in the woods. So again, in a court of law, if I'd shoplifted and there was 100 people says he was the person who did it, I would be found guilty in a court of law. But when it's multiple witnesses, oh yes, something landed and we've seen it, it's like, oh no, you're all crackers, or it's mass hysteria, you don't know what you're doing, or you're all on LSD or drugs, or will make you look stupid. That's it for today anyway. That's sort of me ramble. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you do like it, consider subscribing, give us a thumbs up button, and we'll be doing another case study in the next video. And all this to say is good night, God bless, and be safe, and do your own research. Thank you. Bye bye.